And thank you everybody for being here. And today we're going to present to you about our organization SOYPE, Saving Our Youth from Prison via Education. So first, I'm going to go through a quick agenda. We're going to start first about talking about the leadership. Then we will go through the history and overview of SOYPE, and then we will talk mainly about the curriculum and some future plans, and we will end up with some concluding remarks and questions. First, I want to present the SOYPE leadership because I know it is supposed to be presenting who you want to thank at the end, but I prefer to start with thanking all the team and all the leadership of SOYPE, and I'm very grateful to everyone here. So Smita, Leah, and James, also Alan, Larry, Morris, Vaibhav, and also to all our board members, Yolanda, Diana, Nicole, and Joy. So everyone here has been contributing hugely and has been working nonstop in improving SOYPE and making SOYPE better for everyone and moving it to the farthest as possible. Okay. So who are we? We are a group of students and professionals volunteering to run this project in partnership with Cook County Juvenile Detention Center, and we would like to break the prison cycle via education. Where do we operate? So this is currently only operating in partnership with the Cook County Juvenile Detention Center and via Zoom. We operate from all over the world. So our members, they are from different states and also from other countries. And they work from the comfort of their homes. And however, we do have a feet on the ground in Chicago. So how did this all start? It all started with the Schweitzer Fellowship. And I want to also be very grateful to the Schweitzer administration and especially Maya and Angela, who believed in this project before it started, during its starting, and after, so finishing the project with them. And we were supported enormously with COVID grant, with the seed grant. And also I want to thank the Cook County Juvenile Detention Center because all the workers there, mentioning Philippe Magloire, Izel, Lori, Tamika, everyone who was there working and helped us to achieve our goals and move this project to success. So with this, I want to show you a few of the pictures, how this project started during the COVID. We had like a crisis because we were not able to go to the juvenile detention center to teach. So because of that, we had to collect some money and get some donations and raise funds. And we obtained enough money to buy computers and laptops, and we were able to work on them and install the softwares and set up the system. And then with the help of the GTDC responsibles, we were able to send them there and start the class. And then the students, they were able to sit and have a social distancing and be able to take the class and learn about the coding. So now I'm gonna hand it over to Yolanda, and then we're going to have Yolanda talking about some overview of the problem, our vision, mission, and values. After her, Leah will talk about the project evolution, and then Morris will explain more about our teaching. And finally, Vaibhav will walk you through our goals and how you can contribute.
Thank you very much, Amira. Good morning for me and good evening for you guys in Chi-Town. I'm going to talk a little bit about addressing the problem that SOYPE is charged with trying to solve. Evidence suggests that correctional education is important because it reduces recidivism among juvenile offenders, since it provides them with the opportunity to change their personal behavior and values. The odds of recidivism decreases as incarcerated people achieve higher levels of education. Nowhere are the failures of public education and the American criminal justice system more apparent than in the daily lives of incarcerated minors in the United States. Every day, now get this, about 60,000 youth wake up behind bars, a horrible statistic. The majority have been suspended or expelled from their community schools and have fallen behind several grade levels. 1 in 3 will need specialized education services while they are incarcerated. So we see we have a big task ahead of us. Unfortunately, we have failed to provide incarcerated youth with the bare minimum needed to meet state standards for public education, let alone with the resources required to meet any specialized needs. We provide technology-focused, specialized education. An overview of the problem. If you look to your left, of course, you can see that you have people coming in prison, people going out, people coming in. A 2015 Center report investigated data from 39 states that track recidivism. It found juveniles far more likely than adults to commit another offense after being released from jail. The highest juvenile recidivism rates were 76% within 3 years and 84% within 5 years. Very dramatic statistics. A study of Joseph Doyle, a researcher at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, found that 40% of juvenile offenders ended up in adult prison for crimes committed by the time they reached the age of 25. The study involved data from 30,000 juvenile offenders in Illinois. Get that, 30,000. They also found that when kids went into juvenile detention, they were very unlikely to return to school. Our vision is to run training programs for youth across the country and help support their transition to self-sufficiency and success in the world. Our mission is to help our young people in and outside of juvenile detention centers learn technical, non-technical, and life skills that help them break the cycle of criminal behavior, becoming productive members of our society. Our values, which is very important, and we live by these values daily. We're working together as a team. We view that as a very, very strong value. Learning from each other is extremely important. Caring about each other. And of course, listening to each other. Respecting each other, waiting for each other, and trusting each other. And the biggest value of all is that we aim to do building collaborations and not confrontations. Very, very powerful, the SOYPE project, which we're presenting to you today. I will now turn these slides over to Leah.
Thank you, Yolanda. So my name is Leah, and I will be continuing the presentation from here. Now, how did the project evolve over the past 2 years? So in the pre-COVID era, our classes were taught in person at the JTDC, the Juvenile Temporary Detention Center. But since COVID, as with many other programs, our sessions became fully virtual via Zoom. And that is all thanks to the help of the staff at the center for making that possible. Our project started with teaching data science and technical skills to the residents, but over the past 2 years, it has expanded to grow to cover life skills and different trades as well, ranging from finance to nutrition and to biology. And so our program is called SOYPE, and we currently have plans underway to establish a nonprofit for our organization. We also hope to expand our curriculum to provide both basic and advanced education in tech, finance, life skills, and community development programs. And we really hope to gear this organization towards youth who are either at risk for, previously or currently incarcerated, and more broadly towards people who fall under the communities that are underserved and marginalized. And if we as an organization are able to positively impact the life of even one person, we consider that a success, and it's incredibly meaningful for us. Now, we have 2 main classes at the moment in SOYPE. We have our data science class, and we have a financial literacy class. And within each of these, we have 2 main segments, the 2 being the coding side and the life skills side. And so here we have a brief example from the coding segment for both of our classes. On the far left, we have the Python programming language, and we have a little breakdown of our subunits for Python. We have variables and commenting, data types, operators, conditionals and loops, and so on. And this mirrors it for the R language as well. And we also like to introduce some statistics within these very powerful languages to introduce students to the possibilities that exist when it comes to programming. And we also like to introduce some games and some data science projects just to make things more interesting for them, and also to give them some opportunities to really get hands-on with the laptops that they have. We also have a statistics class, and there we like to introduce some hypothesis-driven learning and some web development as well. Now here we have a brief example from our life skills segment, which is a little bit more conversational, more theoretical side in comparison to our technical skills. And here on the left, we have financial skills. We teach about social media, about job and college applications, as well as with task management, stress management, and really how to sustain healthy relationships and healthy lifestyle choices. And finally, here are a couple of our current instructors and the modules that they teach. So we have Amira, who takes on coding, mainly with the R language. I take on statistics with Python. Alan does so with probability. Larry does so with trading. Vaibhav does so with biology and the scientific method. And we have Morris with online investments. In addition to this, we have several speakers that come in for single instances, and a really wonderful team. Now I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to, I believe, Morris.
Oh, I'm unmuted now. Hi, my name's Morris, and I taught the class in financial literacy and investing, online investing, cryptocurrency last the last it was a semester or 2 ago, and the slide shows you what the curriculum was like this week, or on a weekly basis. So I gave an introduction to investing and At first I was, this is kind of the life skills portion of the class. I wanted to make sure that they, to kind of show them how to, install like the Robinhood app and maybe some other investment apps, how to, get investment videos on like Fidelity Learn and Yahoo and YouTube. And, then I did a poll and realized that, asked them how old they were, and they were like 13, 14, 16. They probably, weren't really old enough to have a Robinhood account, but, I decided to kind of shift my focus to cryptocurrencies because, there's Bitcoin ATMs around town that you could probably go get a Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatnot account right away. And so that kind of got to pique their interest in about in investing that way. So they can this if they got out right away before they turn 18, they go right out and do that. So I gave them kind of a history of cryptocurrency and how Bitcoin and Ethereum and the various other altcoins, what various different histories and purposes they served in the ecosystem. And we actually set up like a spreadsheet and kind of made a little game out of it where we gave them some funny money to play with and invest. And I think $100, we put $100 in their imaginary account, and asked them which cryptocurrencies they want to invest in. And every week I'd look up the prices and update the spreadsheet. And we got everybody to participate and try to make wise investments and let them grow over the semester and keep track of how much money they would have made off of their investment. And I taught them about like NFTs and all those different things. So and how what the differences were between all those different cryptocurrencies, and about like a meme coin and a layer 1 and layer 2 cryptocurrency and the different advantages and disadvantages of each one. At the end, we gave them a certificate where we gave them $1 worth of Solana, and I created an account in each of their names, for each of them, and printed out a QR code on their thank you gift card. And I chose Solana because it seemed stable at the time, and it was doing really well actually, and it was also it had a nice command line interface that I could really script the creation of 10 different accounts, and I just kind of copied and pasted the codes into a little spreadsheet that Amira printed out and split up into each of those different cards. So each one of them got a card with their own little bit of Solana cryptocurrency in it. And they also got a certificate for completing the financial literacy course. And I tried to dovetail it with the programming portion of the course, so that Amira was able to teach them R, data science in R, and Python programming, and she was able to use the life skill knowledge of the different cryptocurrencies to maybe use that as kind of a basis for their data science analysis programming parts of the lectures. So they kind of had a kind of a firm grounding in reality for their coding projects and data science analyses. So now I'm going to hand it over to Chand for the next few slides.
Thank you, Morris.
Sure.
Thank you, guys. My name is Vaibhav, and I would like to start first by saying thank you to Chi Knight for giving us the platform. And I would also like to thank SOYPE team, especially Amira, for her novel thinking and making this possible. but at the same time, we are new and we are also learning. So how we are learning is at the end of our course, we are also taking in feedback from the students so that we can keep improving. Can you please change the slide? I cannot, yeah. But at the same time, we are facing several challenges while teaching at the JTDC. For example, teaching a coding through Zoom is very difficult because sometimes even a comma can create a problem with teaching and coding. So for that, it's very much required for us to be physically present there. Not only that, sometimes internet access is not available, or the students are not joining sometime unexpectedly, or the session get canceled by the JTDC and the instruments get dysfunctional all of a sudden. So these kind of some problem we are facing while teaching online in JTDC. Next, please. So in future direction, we want to include so many things. We want to expand our horizon, not only in terms of a space, like to the state and the country, but also in terms of including the programs. For example, science, biology, chemistry, and engineerings. Some of the examples of these are like high-tech arts, robotics, bioprinting, neural engineerings, and all. Next, please. So what we are doing to achieve these goals are, we have divided our job in two parts: short-term goals and long-term goals. In our short-term goals, we are trying to collaborate with the agencies who can provide support and empowerment to juvenile offenders after release from jail and help them return to school. And we are also trying to reach out to the organizations such as churches or the community development organizations to teach our program and reach out to the youths in underserved communities. And in the long-term goals, as I said before, that we are trying to implement our course across the country, and we are trying to incorporate cutting-edge technology and wide range of courses to teach the students and also reach out to more youth in underserved communities or the youth who are at higher risk of getting incarcerated. And we are also trying to build ourselves in order to award a scholarship to underserved youth for their innovative projects. And we also want to build ourselves financially to provide an award and scholarship to release juveniles so that if they want to open up their own business, they can, so that we can help in reducing the rate of juvenile recidivism. How one can help? We are the Growing Up Foundation, so we need help from a lot of people, and in terms of so many ways, such as funding and donations for our financial, working laptops and tablets, teaching volunteers to teach our courses, and IT support to keep our laptops and computers going. And we want to establish ourselves in Chicago to so that we can establish ourselves in a non-profit organizations. For that, we are going to need a lawyer, so lawyer can also take part and contribute their intelligence with us. And we need people for the administrative work. Everyone can help, so you can also refer to your friends and family. And if nothing, you can at least provide a feedback so that we can keep improving. So for doing all these things and achieving our goal, we have given ourselves some time for that. For example, we are currently working from the Chicago, but we want to expand ourselves outside of Chicago as well, and eventually to the state by 2022, and we want to expand our program by 2023. And we want to include more science and engineering classes by 2024. And we want to establish ourselves outside of the Chicago and in the country by 2025. And I would like to thank all of you for listening to us and spending your valuable time. And we would be glad to take any question you have. So I'll invite all of my members, SOYPE members, and you can ask the question if you have any. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. So yeah, we do have some questions from the audience on YouTube here as well, but yeah, if there's also questions amongst the team, we can take some of those as well, but if you don't mind, I'll go and start with some of our audience questions. So I guess first of all, can you tell us more about how your group originated? So how did you all first connect?
Amira, are you going to answer this question? I think you are the best person to answer this question.
Yeah, I can answer this question. Thank you so much. So it all started at UIC. So being at UIC, you know, UIC is the most diverse university, I think, in the Chicago area, where you find many people from everywhere. So I'm originally from Tunisia. I came to Chicago for grad school. And when I started having, you know, volunteering in Chicago outside of the school, I discovered many places, and I got the Schweitzer Fellowship because I loved volunteering in Chicago and I would love to have my own project. And then when UIC posted that I was one of the Schweitzer winners, I got contacted by Alan and by Leah, and then they were the first people that contacted me, and we started working on it together. And then Vibe Hive, we were working in the same building, so we were very close friends, and then we were also talking about it. And then I met James in the UIC Graduate Student Council, and then I talked to him, and then he liked the idea and he supported it from the beginning. Morris also, he's my batch at UIC grad school. As soon as I told him about the project and I asked him if he can, and I know he's very knowledgeable in cryptocurrency and finance. So he told me, yes, Amira, I'm gonna teach and I'm in with you. And then Diana also, I know her from Value Engineering Department, and Larry also from Chicago. We met as friends in one of the events. Also, Yolanda, I contacted her and I asked her, please, can you also join us with all your, she has been a social worker in Chicago with all the expertise. So you can say, like a lot of people, as soon as they heard of the project, they contacted me, and a lot of people also, as soon as I realized they have potential in helping the kids at Juvenile Detention Center, I contacted them and I proposed if they want to join, and that's how we came all together, and we keep growing like that.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, it sounds like it's a really cool project. You just kind of describe it and people just hop on board. That's really cool. All right, another question we have here are the courses that are offered something that students can continue for multiple years, both while incarcerated and afterwards?
Yes. That's we're planning to work on that. That's why we are trying to open up the nonprofit organizations so that we have a space and and we can recruit them for the further studies.
And just to add on to that, so we currently have like level 1 for 1 semester for the residents. Then we have level 2 for certain modules that we have. It so happens that because a lot of these residents are under 18, their futures are a little bit uncertain. We're not sure where they'll be this time next year or even next semester. And so for the people who are still at the center, we encourage them to continue. But like Vaibhav said, once we have our nonprofit status, we'll be able to work towards getting a space in the Chicago area for these residents to come to once they're released to really continue their education and to have that support.
Great, thank you. Right, another question we have here is, are there any similar programs in other counties or states that you're aware of that have been either an inspiration to SOYPE or that have come to you, like looking for information? Has there been any sort of collaboration like that?
As far as I know, to my knowledge, I know the Last Mile in California is doing something similar about with the prison. I'm not sure about you can say like so far I'm not aware about a program like this for juvenile detention center who specializes just for the juvenile detention centers. But there are similar programs like this for prisons, a lot of prisons and jails. So like I mentioned, the Last Mile is a program that is very inspiring for us.
Great, thank you. Another question here. Were either like incarcerated or formerly incarcerated individuals, I guess youth, who had been in the detention centers, were they involved at all with developing the curriculum or providing any insights along the way in terms of what they needed?
Yes. So when we started, for example, we only started with data science. That's the only class we were teaching. And then the financial literacy came after because it was recommended by the workers in the juvenile detention center based on the feedback from the students. So the students needed to learn about budgeting, needed to learn about money, needed to learn about, many financial, knowledge that they don't have. And that's how we added that class, on the go. I would also want to mention the students, they liked to learn coding for video games. So we created one module for them. And then for like some few weeks, we were teaching them about 2D games in Python, and they were very excited about it.
Great. Yeah, and it sounded like along the way too, like there's opportunities for the students to also provide feedback and insights into things as well. Great. So another question here. I think you touched on it a little bit towards the end in terms of some of the collaborations you're trying to build with other agencies in terms of getting the youth to kind of get back into school and stay in school. I guess relatedly, like how much does the SOYPE kind of work with placing youth in relevant jobs as well if they're old enough to be working, in terms of like placing in jobs that are related to some things that they're learning around programming or data science or anything like that? Or relatedly, can you kind of say a little bit more about how you are collaborating with different agencies to keep them in school or get them into work or something like that?
I think one of the important things too, on that same note, the question was asked earlier regarding the fact, were there any programs like the one that Amira has so eloquently put together here? One of the things, as a past probation officer, I was a juvenile probation officer for 5 years back in the day, under my tutelage of being a clinical counselor. And it was just devastating to me to find that, again, a lot of our youth who had been extruded from the school system because they had been previously incarcerated really did not have a place to go. It was a very, very devastating time back then. And just to date myself, I'm talking about the early 80s. And you begin to have a barrage of funding cuts, although there were programs that were being developed as well in order to assist the youth. There was an extreme gap in services at that time. But through the going into the 80s, the 90s, we find that the individuals needed more when we talk about the whole issue of collaboration. Collaboration comes and will come as the project proceeds. And this is why it's so very important for us to get funding. And we need funding very, very, very quickly in order to make this project a reality. Because juvenile jails are not going anywhere, excuse me. I was around when the juvenile court was a little bitty old building, and then it morphed into this great big conglomerate that we now see on Roosevelt Road. And they still have what we call the gaps in services. So it's just very important for us to build these collaborations to ensure that we're gonna work with individuals who can in fact give our young people jobs. One of the main things is that once you get a record, it's very difficult to get a job. But with the collaborative efforts that we can pursue, I'm quite sure it will not be a very, very hard task to build collaborations. This store, can you hire, our youth? This agency, can you hire our youth? And the collaborations, again, will grow as we proceed with the program.
Also, I just want to add up to the Yolanda's. Our purpose is also to give them the options and knowledge of what all sort of options they could have. Because most of the time they are very demoralized, and with our life skill sets, we want to include so many things and also help them psychologically boost their own self. Because once they are incarcerated, they feel down and demoralized. That's very important to boost up their morals as well. And giving them the possibilities. And you cannot do anything if you don't know about the possibilities in life. You cannot choose your path. And sometimes people, they don't want to talk to incarcerated people because there is a label on them.
Great, thank you. I think kind of related to one of the points that you were making, Yolanda, in terms of funding, I think this next question kind of leads nicely from that. Have you figured out your business model yet? Do you expect to be fully funded by grants or donations? Or will at some point will you be charging fees for services in order to get funding?
In this particular type of grant, the grants that we will be going after, there will, of course, not be any fees charged to the participants. Those services will be, a no fee charge because, again, we're looking for the nonprofit 501c3 status. So therefore, there's not going to be any charges for the services.
And once we have the 501c3 status, we will be eligible to apply for many more grants, which will really open up our possibilities for funding. And ultimately, because all of us are volunteers and we're doing this for these residents, we really want to make sure that they actually have access to the stuff that we're trying to do. And so we will never be charging.
And another thing too is sustainability. We must sustain the project. We're not just going after one grant funder or two grant funders. It's just a array of things that can be done in order to raise money. Fundraisers, donations, just a variety of things. Because when one funding stream closes down, you have to show some sustainability where you have to continue. And we know how the state is. We know how the government is. They give you money for 1 year, 2 years, you know, the next year they look at cuts and then you start cutting down. So what we need to make sure is that we have multiple streams for our funding in order to continue and sustain the project. And once we get the major funding, like Leah was saying, once we get our status, then again, the sky is going to be the limit, because a program like this in the Chicago area will go very, very far. The impact is going to be huge, because juvenile delinquents are not going anywhere. And I hate to use that name, but it's been around for 100 years. But we can produce this project for them in order for them to grow and develop, and to just enhance their self-esteem. That's another main issue, is to enhance the self-esteem. Just because you've been locked up does not mean your life is over. Just because you are locked up, when you get out does not mean that you have to go and do drugs. This is one of the main things I saw as a probation officer. The youth, where am I going to get money? I'm not in school. I've been excluded from the school system. What can I do to make money? Again, this program is so viable because it has so many appendages for funding and for success that, hey, give us the funds.
Hey, thank you. Next question, I think, kind of goes back a little bit to what we were just discussing before in terms of different options, you know, once youth are out of the program, out of school. And the question is, since, you know, this started at UIC, is there a pathway for these students to become UIC students through this program?
Well, there is some efforts, and there is a coalition now happening in UIC. And I'm trying to pitch this work so that they can have these juveniles, if they leave, hopefully the juvenile detention center, they can join UIC, or a lot of these juveniles, they finish their GED and they are still there, so they can have programs and accredited by UIC. So there's a continuous effort. Now there's a big committee here at UIC from different departments who are working on this, especially for the prison. And I am trying to push to make it also for the juvenile detention center. Because as I mentioned, there's a lot of attention for prisons and jails, but there's not a lot of programs and attention for the juvenile detention centers, unfortunately.
Great. Thank you. This might be a question more specifically for, I think it was Morris who was talking about the cryptocurrency lessons and so forth. There's a question around, you know, kind of what went into deciding to teach about cryptocurrency, and if there's any concern about, you know, also in terms of like teaching financial literacy and financial skills, any concern of like investing in something like cryptocurrency that might be rather unstable or unpredictable, and kind of, helping students, helping youth kind of figure out what is a kind of good investment versus a more risky investment, and kind of how that went into deciding whether or not to teach about cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, that was,
Morris, I'm gonna say something and then I'm gonna leave it to Morris. So the first thing, this first spike that was happening and that pushed that to cryptocurrency last year. So the students, the residents in the juvenile detention center, the only thing entertainment they have in the juvenile detention center is watching TV. And then last year, cryptocurrency was really hot in every news for some reason. So the residents, every time when we were teaching them about cryptocurrency as just a general knowledge, but then when they watching TV and they came back to us and they were, what is that? We want to learn more. We just saw it in the news. And that's how Morris came in with more details. And I'm gonna leave it to Morris now.
yeah, there's a number of factors that kind of contributed to that. I mean, just the fact that cryptocurrency is also a currency that can be used for trading and things, and saving your money. I figured, if they, these people aren't really old enough to even have a bank account, so if they come across money, they can put it in like a Bitcoin ATM and actually use it to save money. And I guess it's just better than just having piles of cash laying around your house or wherever you're staying at. So and also so aside from it being really popular, it also kind of stemmed from the first couple of lectures I did were about actually like trading stocks and valuating companies with the profit to earning ratios, and I kind of explained like what a market capitalization was, and how to really get like a solid fundamental of kind of understanding of macroeconomics, and how stocks and, well, I really didn't touch too much on bonds, but how those sorts of financial instruments and securities work in terms of saving and investing. And then I kind of shifted to cryptocurrency as like an extension of that. That's basically available to them right then. I was open to kind of get the whole point of buying low and selling high across to, instead of FOMOing in and that sort of stuff, to prevent them from losing all their money. I mean, cryptocurrency is volatile, but it's probably safer than putting all your money into your mattress or your shoes or something, if you don't have access to bank accounts due to poor credit or just being 15 and not having a responsible co-signer.
Right. Great, thanks. I think we have time for one final question here, which is, do the credits from the classes count towards GED? Does it count towards their kind of regular schooling? And is that part of the goal?
Yeah, that's part of the goal. Not yet, but we are hoping that's going to be part of the goal. For now, the classes we give are after-school programs because they are a bit advanced compared to what they are doing in high school, but also not as the same level as what they have in at the university. So these classes are more transitional for them from high school to university level. So we will try to see either to include them within as credits with the GED or towards maybe a prerequisite for the university.
Okay, great. Thank you. So I think we are right at time here. So thank you so much to the SOYPE group for telling us about the Saving Our Youth from Prison via Education program. Very interesting stuff. So as I mentioned earlier, we will now head over to our post-presentation Zoom. The link is up there on the screen. And I believe I hopefully just posted it on the YouTube live chat as well. So you can get to it that way as well. So we hope to see you over at that post-presentation Zoom. And with that, I will say our usual goodbye of go forth and hack.